Southwest Florida, welcome back to Lee Pitts Live. We're so thrilled to be here at the 2019 Lee County NAACP's Gala, fundraising gala, and it has been a treat. We're in the closing part of the gala now. Few people out there dancing, but they basically scattering here for this fantastic Freedom Fund banquet. Speaking of Freedom Fund and the NAACP, we have some representatives here from the Lee County School Board. That's always a treat because they come out every year and they have a strong constitution around diversity and inclusion. So let's get to meet these leaders here. Let's get your full name.
My name's Patricca. Thank you for having me.
Glad that I can finally get you on the show.
I'm happy to finally be here.
What is your district?
I live in, all right,
What you represent?
District 3.
Okay. Let's get your full name.
Kathleen Morgan. Kathleen Morgan.
Now, Cathleen, I think you were on my show years ago, but
I was.
Patricca has never been on the show.
Correct.
But she wasn't a sitting school board member at the time. You came on at the African Network, I think, or one of those galas I caught you.
Yes.
I think this is like a second term for you, or you did a couple of terms and you were off and came back.
No. I am in the third year of my second term.
Right.
And I have filed to run for election again in 2020.
Oh, so I'm interviewing you and it's already, the announcement has been made. Okay, so get that microphone close to you, and tell us why the people should vote for you.
People should vote for me because I really believe that we're doing great things in the Lee County School District and we have a great governance team. I want to be part of that team going forward. I've been part of the group that's worked hard to create a platform for Superintendent Adkins and his staff to make some big changes, some transformational changes in the Lee County School District. And we're seeing the payoff from our strategic plan. We're seeing improved graduation rates for kids. We're working hard to close the achievement gap. We're doing all kinds of good things, and I just want to be part of that team going forward.
Is it fair to say right now you're in campaign mode?
No.
Okay, so people can't join your campaign right now?
Not right now.
They can't get involved, but at least they know that you will be running.
That is correct. Yes.
Okay, and there are some hot items that you guys have been really busy. But one of the things that people notice first off is that all of the members of the school board are females. Does that bring about a certain type of sensitivity or dynamics?
Girls rule and boys drool.
Girls rule in the boys' world?
Boys drool.
I don't get that.
Girls rule, boys drool. Like drool.
Oh, drool. Okay.
You did not know what you were getting into.
No, that's cool. That's cool. I like somebody with some personality. Me and her been trying to get together for at least a year and a half, so I felt guilty I hadn't talked to her yet. This is your first run at Bite at the Apple. I think it's been a year yet, 2 years?
I'm finishing my third year.
Okay. Was it going in? You expected something and now you know something. What surprised you about the job?
The amount of time that it takes and the amount of control the state has over how we do our jobs.
Oh, really?
Yes.
For example?
They set our millage rate. They tell us exactly how much money we can spend per student. They tell us what textbooks we have to use. They tell us many of the subjects that we have to teach. Really, they have an awful lot of control over how we deliver education here in Lee County. It's supposed to be the most locally driven function of government. That was what it was intended by our founding fathers, but we have seen our state legislature take over much of it.
What would you say the primary function of a school board representative is?
We're policymakers, and we are out in the community gathering information from the community and the kids and the people that we represent so that we can make sure that we're providing an education that's appropriate for them.
Is it fair to say that the school board is not supposed to be micromanaging the superintendent?
Absolutely.
You know why I say that, right? Because I read and I agree. And some of you have done a great job in expressing that you don't want to micromanage the superintendent. We have a lot of real estate being developed now, schools coming online all the time, the population is in constant growth. What are some of our biggest challenges now in accommodating all the people who are moving here to the area as far as school facilities?
Well, if you're receiving somewhere between 12 and 1,500 students a year, that basically means you're building a school a year, and we're not operating at that rate. But because we were able to pass the sales tax, we are now in a catch-up mode. We're moving kids out of several hundred portables into classrooms over the next 5 years. In 5 years, we should be in really good shape with respect to being able to house every student in a suitable learning environment, and we should have the technology, the software, the school safety, security, all of those things that we need to invest in infrastructure for.
Okay. I'm going to be trying to get both of you in the studio at separate times so I can interview you guys in a more formal setting. But right now, let's cover a couple of quick things. The NAACP, why did you feel it was important that you come out and be a part of this banquet?
Well, I think it's a really fun event, first of all, high energy, I love it, and the superintendent and a couple of the NAACP board members talked about the tremendous strides that we've made in terms of decreasing the achievement gap and increasing graduation rates, and I think that Dr. Martin from FGCU said it best. We're not done. We've got a lot more work to do in this area, and like I said, my job is to be in the community and find out what we need to do for kids. And I'm here to find out what we need to do for kids.
Your ward, your district does your district include a heavily populated, diverse community? If it does, great. If it doesn't, that's fine. But when you're sitting up there deliberating as a school board representative, do you think about the entire district in terms of your decision-making process?
Absolutely. I know more about District 3 because that's where I live, but I'm actually statutorily required to represent every school in the district with every decision that I make. And I take that very seriously.
Dr. Atkins, since he's been the superintendent, I think he might be in his third year or so, maybe more, maybe less. Fourth year?
He was hired in 15.
I personally have found him to be a very affable, approachable person who genuinely is concerned about all the students.
Yes, I agree entirely. He's quiet leadership. He's a servant leader, and what I think he's done the best is surround himself with leaders at the district who are real change makers, and I think that we have the strongest team this district has ever seen.
The superintendent has also been a big proponent of diversity and inclusion.
Yes.
He's created a department called Diversity and Inclusion itself. What type of signal does that send to everybody?
I think the signal it sends to everybody is that we're well aware that we have some problems, that there are things that we need to address, and the best people to address them are people who are skilled and expert in the area of diversity and inclusion, providing education to our staff, supporting the schools in terms of trying to meet our goals with respect to closing the gap, and how do we do it, and what role does diversity and inclusion play in our academic success.
When you check your voicemail or check your messages or check your emails from your constituencies, what is that one thing that seems to be a thread in terms of complaint or something they want to be improved upon?
Ooh.
What's the hot one?
Honestly, I can't say that there's something that stands out. As a school board member, I can tell you what keeps me awake.
Okay.
What I worry about. I worry about two things. I worry about the children who come to school who aren't ready for kindergarten. I worry about the kids who come from homes where they haven't heard a lot of words, where they haven't had an opportunity to speak with adults and interact with other children. I worry about the number of children that we are getting who don't speak the English language. Last year we got more than 1,600 students who were mono language speakers, not English speakers. When you bring those children into elementary school, that's one issue. When you bring them in at the high school level and the education they've had in their native country is perhaps third grade, maybe fifth grade, we have some significant problems to deal with.
I'm glad you're sensitive to that matter and keep working on that. We'll get into that in more details when I get you in the studio,
Sure.
okay? You guys heard me up there
Yes.
say that I was identified as having a learning disability and I wasn't basically going to be anything in life. One of the things I didn't share with you guys is that my mom raised 7 children by herself.
Yeah.
I rose from poverty. You guys hear the long thing every time she introduces me. I don't tell her to say all of that. She likes saying all that, so whoop-de-doo. But my main point is, I looked at y'all, and I could see in your eyes, you were like, right. And that's where we need to see that next generation have realized their full potential, just like Lee Pitts. Go, speak to that.
Yeah, what did you say? Look at kids, some of them are dusty. Is that what you said? Yes, I agree with that 100%. And I think that education has changed a lot since you and I were in school. We are individualizing education in a way that we never did before. We are truly trying to deliver what each child needs instead of looking at a classroom full of third graders and saying, this is what you should be learning at your age. Mm-hmm. And I think that speaks to exactly what your experience was.
And if you shine them off, you'll find a beautiful diamond. I said that to say, for all practical purposes, what you said, luckily for me, I was in Head Start. They got me in Head Start, so I was really good at the math. Yeah. I wasn't good at the reading, the comprehension, and the writing. Of course, I'm well skilled at that now. And then they put me in some special, they take me out of the mainstream, take me to a little laboratory every day for about 2 hours. So students did identify me as the guy they take out of class to go to the lab. I think you're more mainstream now. You don't do that and make kids feel right. No, but it helped me a lot. I had a teacher, white teacher, identified me, and then let me just move through the system. So, hey, Lee got a reading disability. No matter what, we got to help him. He's good at this math, and he might could be something. And she stayed on me. Her name was Miss Scaife. Miss Scaife. And then as I moved up through life and things started happening, she would follow me in the newspapers and everything, the old-fashioned newspaper before we had internet. And I came home to school to speak at the elementary school. She had all these clippings and everything. She'd been following me for years. And I was just in tears when she told me that. I said all that to say this. How does one who sits in your position at that high level get that down to the grassroots, the classrooms?
So we saw increases in our third grade ELA last year, and I forget the percentage, but it's 200 students. 200 students went from being not proficient in reading to being proficient in reading. So my job is to look at the data, but with an understanding that as that data increases, it's affecting individual children. And so that's really, I think where...
But you guys keeping your eyes on that, right?
Oh, absolutely.
You got to add to that before you go?
That's okay.
Oh, okay, let's go to a final question. I'll let you guys get out of here. Safety. Safety. How safe do you, I'll get broad with it. Just talk about how good we should feel about the safety of our schools.
Well, you know, it's funny. I had a conversation with Sheriff Marcino the other night, and I told him that I have 4 children in the school system right now, and I feel safe sending my own children to school every day. And I think that that's really the best statement of safety, because if I'm sending my own kids there, then it has to be safe. I think that we're seeing increased arrests, and I think that's because there's increased public awareness. I think kids are seeing something and saying something. And the other thing that they're not doing is they're not sharing on social media. Instead, they're going to an adult and telling them what they're seeing on social media. Does that make sense?
Right. When you say increased arrests, you mean in the schools? Kids are being arrested for doing illegal things, and people students are helping out and making folk aware.
Correct. With specific regard to threats and safety issues, we're seeing an increased awareness. We're seeing more arrests in the newspaper too. Right.
But our general population, we are not privy to all of the incidents that take place. So many times we might not even realize that things are being prevented all the time.
Correct.
Speak to that. Just safety in general, how you feel about it as well.
Well, I agree with Chris. I think one of the things that's really remarkable is the extent to which the SROs in the sheriff's office, the police officers in Fort Myers and on the Cape have worked with us to really embed in the schools. We work together to identify children who are at risk, children who may represent a threat. And as Chris said, students talk to these adults and they say, are you aware that I am afraid of the good things are happening with communication between students, teachers, and people who are responsible for safety and security in the schools, SROs and police officers.
Okay, what's the SRO?
Oh, I'm so sorry. School resource officer.
Right, okay. Just Sesame Street it for the TV audience. I knew what it was, but it's my job to Sesame Street stuff. So you guys can relate to Sesame Street, right?
Oh, yeah.
The transportation has been a challenge. The busing, staffing, scheduling, just enough. Where are we with that? Are we making progress?
Yeah, for the last two, well, almost 2 years, the superintendent has been working with his staff. The problem that we have with our current choice system is that some students have too many choices. We need to shrink proximity zones. If we can shrink proximity zones and limit the number of schools kids can choose from, we can in fact get closer to becoming neighborhood schools, which is what most families want, because you will take a group of children and they will be able to choose between 3 schools instead of 12 schools. And so essentially you're creating 3 neighborhoods with that population of students instead of spreading them across 12 schools. And because of that, we will also be shrinking the number of routes that we're running within a particular area to a larger number of schools. That should reduce our costs. So, I'm sorry. So,
okay, so progress.
So we're making some progress.
And you encourage people to come to school board meetings.
Oh, absolutely.
Get that in.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
I didn't get a chance to ask you this as I'm wrapping it up. And I'll be right back with your final question. Is your thoughts about the current superintendent, Dr. Atkins? I think I asked you about Dr. Atkins. I didn't ask her, right? Or was it vice versa?
So, when I first ran for the school board 7 years ago, I had a vision of what the governance team could be in the Lee County School District, the kind of school board we would have and the kind of superintendent who would run our district. And I have to say that Dr. Atkins is the man that I hoped, I absolutely hoped would be there. He and his team and this community are a real gift to the kids and the staff in our system, really working hard together to make good things happen.
You want to add anything to that?
Well, you asked a question earlier about what comes through my email. We as a board received an email recently from 69 community leaders, Dr. Antonucci, Jim Nathan, his wife, Dr. Martin.
Lee Health people.
Dr. Martin, who is here tonight. If I went through all of the names, you would recognize them all. Really big name leaders in Lee County telling us.
My name wasn't on there.
Only because they were in a rush to get the letter to us. So.
I hope some diversity names were on there.
But the letter was sent to us to signal to us as a board that this community supports Dr. Atkins, and we really should think about doing the same thing. And I do. I support Dr. Atkins. I think it's really important for us to get out of his way and let him do his job and make sure that we do our job, because the best thing we can do to support the children of Lee County is understand our job and support the superintendent as he does his.
Well, I wasn't on that letter, but I will say it verbally. Let's let the superintendent do his job. Seems like a man who is very dedicated and sincere and working hard to make our school district a world-class school system. How about that? We're not breaking the sunshine law because they're talking to me in public, in the sunshine. 2 of them are not having a private meeting. We're in the sunshine. Right? I think it's going to be one of the rules, isn't it?
Well, I don't think we've discussed anything tonight we will vote on anyways, so it's really not an issue.
No.
Okay.
You're absolutely right.
All right. It's been a pleasure having you both here.
Thank you so much.
And I look forward to continuing to be a place for you guys to communicate with the public, okay?
Terrific. Thank you so much, Lee.
We'll be right back with more Lee Pitts Live.